What was that? Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm listening to my audiobook. That's stupid. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, Patronosaurus Reads. I'm Katie, aka Patronosaurus, and I read. Today I'm coming at you with another discussion video because when 2019 ended, the same fucking conversation came up again. So, at least for the past 2 years, in 2019 and 2018, Goodreads posted like a little article listicle thing with them interviewing, like very short little interviews, people who read a lot of books in that year, and they asked them kind of what their secrets are, like how do you read so many books? And a lot of them were people that are not only pretty prevalent on Goodreads, people who, you know, have a lot of followers there, but people who are big on BookTube as well. So there were a lot of names that I recognized in this list, and people saying, you know, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I always make sure to have a book with me, even if it's an ebook on my phone. I don't do other things in my free time. And it was people who read, I don't know, I think they had someone who read around 100, 120, to people who read 300 or 400 books in a year. And I'm like, wow, good for them. I'm so glad that they feel like they had such a successful reading year, which is what should the response be, you know? Like, that's how you should feel. And then every year that they've done this, at least the years that I have read these articles, the comment section is like the most popping comment section on Goodreads. And people don't comment on shit on Goodreads, you know? Like, they don't... That's not the kind of website where you do that. So the comments start pouring in of people who are saying, first of all, the audiobooks aren't real reading, which, like, please shut the fuck up. Like, scientific studies have shown that your brain processes stories auditorily? Is that it? Audibly? Whatever. And visually, like, the same way. It's literally the same. And people are like, it's cheating. No, because usually audiobook narrators read a lot slower than your eyes can process things, unless you are an exceptionally slow visual reader. So honestly, listening to audiobooks takes most people more time than less time if they had been reading the same book physically. So, like, thank you, next. And then there are also people saying that if you're reading picture books or graphic novels or comic books, that those don't count as reading. And I'm like, why the fuck not? Like, if you don't want to count it, you don't have to count it. But if people do want to count it, why does it bother you or affect you at all? People were talking about how... This is the one that really gets me, I think, is what gets me the most, because I read a lot of books in 1 year. I read, gosh, like 166 or 167 in 2019. I read a lot, largely because I did discover books that take a lot less time to read. I read a lot of smut. I listened to more audiobooks than I ever have in my entire life in 2019. So, yeah, I did do the things that they're accusing me of. Like, who cares? Who cares? And saying that, like, somehow you can only truly enjoy books if you read them slowly and carefully. Like, no, I'm a fast reader. I've been a fast reader since I was born. Well, not since I was born, but basically since I learned how to read, I've always been a fast reader. It gets me so mad. Like, why does it bother somebody else if I read 166 books in 1 year? Why are you so mad that I was able to do that? Like, you read 30 books in a year. Good for you. I'm glad that you read 30 books, and I hope that you enjoyed all of them. Like, people get so pressed about other people's reading habits. Like, why do you give a shit? Why do you care? And a lot of people did also bring up, like, the same points that I've been making about how, like, you don't really have to worry about anybody else's reading. Like, if you don't want to count picture books, you don't have to. If you don't want to count comic books, you don't have to. And a lot of people are making it out like reading isn't a competition. No, it's not. You're right, it's not. Like, I'm, like, all over the place. I'm so sorry. I made one comment on this thread, responding to someone who said, well, all these people only read comic books and graphic novels and really short novellas so they could get these crazy numbers. And I was like, no. So that was the one comment that I responded to, and I said, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like, no one cares about the Goodreads challenge that much to read that kind of books or any specific kind of book just because it'll boost up their numbers. They read those kinds of books because they like them. If it just so happens that the kind of books that people like are ones that are going to get them higher numbers, then they're going to have high numbers. Like, I don't know what you want people to say. If you don't like the Goodreads challenge, you don't have to be on Goodreads. Create a fucking Excel spreadsheet. Track your reading that way. Like, ugh. People are driving me nuts. I was so mad. And I feel like, I know it's like a dumb thing to be mad about, but it's a dumb thing for them to care about. Like, mind your own business. If you don't want to count certain things as books, if you don't want to count them as read on your shelves, then don't do it. But don't be mad at people who do. And do not come in here with this ableist ass talk saying that audiobooks aren't real books, which is also something like, I was so happy so many people in the comments were also bringing that up, like, books in Braille are not really easily accessible and audiobooks are. So for visually impaired people or people who are completely blind, like, audiobooks are great. Or for people who can't hold up a book, if you have some motor function issues, audiobooks are great. So, like, you can't pick and choose, because then some people were like, well, yeah, it counts for those people. No. Audiobooks either count as reading or they don't. So if it counts for some people, it counts for everybody. And it's not really your choice to make about anybody else, really. Like, if you don't want it to count for you, then don't have it count for you. Don't listen to audiobooks. Don't do it. I'm just like, I'm so tired of this fucking conversation that happens. It's like cycles, like every 6 months to a year, it's gotta come up again, where people talk about how audiobooks are not real reading. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. If you want to see someone actually talk about the full research that has been done, I will go ahead and link Emma's video down below from Emma Books. She posted a video, I don't even know when, like maybe 2 years ago now, talking about like the actual research that has been done and going into depth about these studies, because that's actually like her area of academic interest, and like her degree is, I think, related to that. I don't totally know. But she makes such like strong arguments. And at the end of the day, reading is individual. So let individual people count what they want, and don't be a gatekeeping asshole. That's all. Those are my thoughts. I'm sure this video is unnecessary because this topic has been talked to death, and I know the majority of people on BookTube agree with me. I don't think I've seen any videos where people are saying, no, I don't think audiobooks count. Like, I feel like the online bookish community outside of Goodreads, but like BookTube and Book Twitter, I feel like do talk about accessibility a lot and equality a lot. And so on our minds, like, yes, this totally makes sense. And there's just so many people that have to make other people's reading their business. I just really wanted to kind of get this off my chest because, not gonna lie, I read this Goodreads thread like weeks ago, and I'm still so mad about it. It just drives me up a wall. Let me know your thoughts. I'm sure this video is like a hot mess. I'm a hot mess. Everything's a mess. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. That's what YouTubers say. I'll see you guys next time.